Hi everyone, it's interesting we're talking. I want to move into healing the throat chakra, and it's the 6th or 7th time I start this video, and every time I keep screwing the words up. It must be something in the air. Anyway, on a serious note, we all struggle with speaking in some form or another. There's so many people that speak nothing, and other people that just, they just don't stop. And it's like, but they're still talking. 6 hours later, they're still talking. Well, that's actually not healthy either, because you have to, part of learning how to speak is to also listen. And we also have a lot of things that we are bothering us, and we can, choke it down inside ourselves. And it's important that your throat chakra is healthy. It's because the voice, the speech is very powerful. And if your throat chakra is in balance, you can't actually become the true version of yourself. You see a lot of amazing people out there, very beautiful, very nice people, but they can't actually communicate. And you try to help them. Guy, just be yourself. It's okay. But they struggle. They struggle with communication. And that is something that is very, very debilitating. Like if you're afraid to do public speaking, for instance, then you're thrown in a podium and expect to speak, that can be some of the most embarrassing, difficult moments of your life. But you should just do it anyway, because that's how you overcome that part of your fears, to do it. Most people understand it. And the older you get, people do understand that people do struggle with that. And a lot of times, you best just to do it, even if it's uncomfortable, because being uncomfortable shows that you need to work on it. And just do it. It doesn't matter if you mess some of the words up. It doesn't matter if you don't say exactly the right thing. People respect you for just trying. And the ones that don't, they're also struggling with the throat chakra, because understanding the struggle in people is part of being human. It's very, very normal, and it's perfectly fine. So I want to just jump right into a journey into what the spirit realm will have to say about healing your throat chakra, and what exactly and how they want to do that, and how they want to move forward with it. It's fun because I have no idea what is going to come next. It's a great thing about doing journeys. You just don't know what to expect. And you're in this situation, you close your eyes and nothing happens, and you're like, got that Jeopardy sound in the background. Time's clicking by, and like nothing's happening. Anyway, just throwing it out there is a weird thing that can happen sometimes. I think in general, we all struggle with communication. All of us. Even the best speakers in the world struggle with communication, because it's not just simply speaking. It's everything around it. It's the emotions, it's the history. It's the passion of speaking, because you can be a really good speaker, but you have no passion at all in it. And that's not right either. The best speakers are the ones that make you cry, the ones that make your hair stand up in the back of your neck and your arms, because they're the ones that are putting their soul into the words. So when you speak, you can speak with passion, you can speak with sadness, you can speak with happiness, you can speak with encouragement. So intention's important when you speak. So if you want to do if you want to talk to people, you could say that you want to attach love and happiness to every word that you speak. So when you say it, then you allow the love and happiness to be attached to each and every word. So it doesn't really matter exactly what you're saying. It's that the words, the sounds that come out of your mouth all have that beautiful energy attached to it. And it's important that we do this sometimes. If you want to be a musician, and you're singing, and you want somebody to really feel it, then you need to put the intention as what it is that you want. And a lot of people will attach themselves to a memory. So now it's not just simply word. It's the motion and the visualization is attached to it. And that's why it's so powerful, because you're receiving that information inside yourself. You're receiving the sadness. You're receiving the memories of that individual. And that's what moves us. And that's the difference between somebody that has passion in their music and somebody that speaks words. There's so much music nowadays that is just words. And that's difficult for somebody that grew up in the 70s and 80s to sit there and listen to some of the music now. It has no passion to it. And a lot of music back in the 70s and 80s didn't have passion, never went anywhere. It just didn't go anywhere at all. And that's the difference between modern music and old music. People actually had to learn the instruments. They had to learn how to read music. They had to learn to write music. Now, all you need to do is look pretty. The music's written for you. The instruments are played for you. All you have to do is go out there and lip sync to a song. You don't even really have to know how to sing that well, because it can just be modified in the computer. And then you never ever repeat it again. See, music is a huge part of your throat chakra. It's one way that for a long time when people sang, it had meaning to it. That's why that music's still around today. Anyway, enough speaking, and I want to go right into the throat chakra and see what type of messages the spirit realm has to say. So I always like these videos. I want you to also go into that state that I'm going into with a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Breathe in positive energy, breathe out negative energy, connect it to the core of the earth. It's important that you state that once in a while and connect that energy and that cycle. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to visualize the things that it isn't necessarily what I'm going through. I want you to see what comes to yourself. Because as you do these videos, you're going to see and hear things contrary to what I am, and that's perfectly fine. Because it's the things that the spirit realm wants you to experience to help heal your throat chakra. Breathe in your nose, out your mouth. In positive energy, love energy, and out with negative and chaos energy. Now silent breathing. First thing I see is an image of somebody that the heel's over in pain, and there's people around them just screaming at them, yelling and screaming and calling them down to the lowest. And I see this image going around a person, around and around and around, and there's all these different faces and all these different sounds that are basically saying they're useless or a piece of crap, blah, 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 blah. And this person is literally bent over in pain and can't even stand, and after a while they just stop speaking and they retreat into a dark room, and they don't want to even associate with people anymore. Words are powerful. When we criticize and condemn and laugh at people, it can have very lasting effects. It can cause depression, can cause people to commit suicide. So they want you to understand that your words are powerful, especially when they're done purposely. When you say something to someone and you attach hate to it, that repeats all throughout time. So all throughout time you say that to that individual, and that individual, a part of its soul will hear it continuously for all of time. They're saying it's important that we understand this so we can disconnect the energy from that individual and connect the energy, because once we hear it and it's about us, we have that mental connection and spiritual connection, emotional connection to that word, to that phrase, and we will stay connected to it till we separate from that person. So that the other video I did before about separating, disconnecting, you need to watch that video again and attach that individual to that, because you let that go. Because if you don't disconnect from that energy, it'll continue. As soon as you disconnect from that individual, then that energy is still speaking, but it's not speaking to you anymore. It's just speaking to the universe. So it's a lot quieter. It's still there, but it's not having a major effect on you. And it's much more healthy for you. It's important that you understand that. That's the first thing that comes forward. And they want people to understand that abuse can come in many different ways. And some of the most long-lasting things that we can do to people is yell and scream at them. It has a different type of wound. The mind and the heart are very, very powerful spiritual centers. When they get affected by the screaming and yelling constantly all the time, they become twisted and they're not functioning correctly. So in a physical thing, it causes pain and suffering as well. But a lot of the times, depending if it comes with physical, emotional, and obviously depends on how it happens, but they want you to understand that a lot of people have it in their minds, it's just yelling and screaming, I'm not actually physically beating the person up. It doesn't matter, because it still has a massive effect on them. That needs to be heard more into the eyes and minds of the human race, because with this day and age, words can be written and not spoken. And more, we stop speaking and we keep writing. The problem with writing is that when we write something, we create energy automatically when we write it without even thinking about it. It's actually writing a book, for instance, that whole story is there. When the person writes the book, it's not just the words, it's the visualization of the story. The world itself is there. So when we text somebody, they're going to be able to feel what your emotions were at that time. How many times we feel like people are yelling at us in text messages? We also put our own intentions on it, don't we? See, this is why words written down are more powerful than words spoken. Because if you're in front of somebody and they say something to you, there's an interactive connection of your spiritual energies that can identify whether or not it's positive or negative or just a joke. Well, if you do it in a text message, the energy that person sends is there, but your own energy of the interpretation of what you think it is that the person is saying is also there. But there's no way of having that soul connection to identify whether or not it's a joke or not. It leaves you second guessing yourself, which causes even more grief and suffering, to be honest with you. This is why it is important that we communicate with each other in words and in person. We have to always be able to be in person and communicate all the time, because we don't do that. We're going to become very sick as a society. Because your throat chakra needs to speak. It needs to be active. It is part of your whole system. When we stop doing that, we close down an energy center in our body. And nothing works properly unless all the energy centers are connecting and working together. So when you think of the throat chakra, you also have to think of the written word. That's what they're telling me. And TV. See, this is the other thing. We're bombarded with so much visualization about other people's speaking, more so than all throughout history. So our chakra of the throat is being used without physically connecting to an individual. So it's not the way it normally was meant to be used, because when we use a throat chakra, we're connecting to an individual, somebody in front of you, or an audience of people. Now, we have no idea who our audience is going to be. This is a whole nother aspect of this that people don't even understand. They don't understand how that's affecting people. Now, not just one individual, you're being bombarded with people you don't even know, never even heard of before, never even met. And how do you interpret that energy? This is something that is messing with the human race right now. A whole nother way to use the throat chakra. Communication with people that you don't know. You never met before. It's like writing a book, but it's visualization as well. So you're speaking something. It's an interesting idea. So this is why they go back to that one individual at the beginning that's being bombarded by negative things. The problem is right now, there's also another layer of negative things, because once you start going down the wanting, like being affected by negative energy, you attract more and more and more and more negative energy. So now, before it was harder to get that. Now, the internet is full of it. TV is full of it. So now you're hearing all these voices, and now these voices become louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder from people you don't even know that are saying negative things that never were meant to say it to you, but it sounds like it's saying it to you, so it even causes things to get even worse and louder and louder and louder. And now you're being bombarded by completely energies that is foreign to you as a soul. And then there's an image of a person that just can't take it anymore. I don't have to go into details. You can fill the blanks in. If I would have took that same person, brought them back to, say, the 1700s or 1800s, where there was living in a small town, living in a city, they would never have done that. You can get information so quickly now. Our physical bodies or DNA isn't made yet to be able to withstand all that bombardment, and a lot of people just can't do it. So it's creating a lot of mental illness in the world, all from the throat chakra, because it all originates from that. I guess you never really thought of it that way. So next time you put a video out there, what kind of video are you putting out? Is it a positive message or is it a negative message? Because that negative message that you just sent out, how many people are going to watch that video? How many people are going to share that video? You have no idea how many people that can actually have a negative effect on. And you just thought it was funny. Because your humor is different than the person beside you, the person in another country. It just could be the one thing that causes the person to pull a bullet in their head. And you just thought it was funny. So it's not just your voice, it's the voices of others that you have to ask, do I need to really, should I be sharing this? Should I be even watching this? Because I'm encouraging this behavior to continue. And I might be able to handle that behavior, but if I'm encouraging this behavior is going to happen, what is it doing to other people? How is it affecting them? There's a bubbling tar inside of just an image of bubbling tar. And there's all these voices attached to the bubbling tar. Every time the bubble comes up and breaks, it's words that are coming out. And they're very foul, very negative. But they're showing me that this tar used to be like a bubble and burst, bubble and burst, bubble and burst. Now it looks like it's basically a pot full of potatoes that's overflowing now. All the foam that it creates and all the bubbles that occur, and it flows over the top of the pot. This is what it looks like now. This is what's being put out into the universe from this earth simply by using words, sharing videos. So it's important that you disconnect from all this energy. So let it go. So one of the ways of healing your throat chakra is disconnecting yourself from the negative energies in the world. You could say the negative energies from the internet, the negative energies from your friends, your family. It could go on and on and on and on. What even your coworkers at work, like strangers. This in the news is the worst. All this stuff comes from the throat and is creating so much chaos, confusion, hatred, death, sickness. See, a lot of people would say, what was the worst chakra that'd be unbalanced? A lot of people wouldn't even think of the throat, would they? But the throat creates all your chakras to be out of balance. All of them. So it is one of the most destructive chakras to be out of balance in every part of your body. So it's extremely important that it stays in balance, because your throat is connected to your soul. Your words are connected to your soul. So every word you speak should be words used to encourage peace and happiness in the world. If it's the opposite, you're encouraging all these suffering throughout time, all throughout time. Because it never stops speaking, your actions never stop speaking. They wanted me to explain that to everyone, to understand the power of a word. We don't normally think about word as being a video, but it really is, isn't it? If you muted every video, the energy is not as powerful, is it? When you listen to it, it's like, bang, wow, that had much more of an impact. Don't ever think that the words are not powerful. The words can tear apart a soul faster than anything else. Words, we don't even understand the power of the word and what it can actually do. Is one of the most powerful tools and weapons in all throughout time and space. If you really truly understood the power of it, you would understand how destructive it can be. You look at Dune and the weapons that they had, and they would speak a certain word and it amplifies it. Just like take that and times it by 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000. It's not something to laugh about. It's something to take very seriously. But also, laughter is actually very beautiful. As long as it's not laughter about somebody getting hurt, but a laughter of happiness. See, laughter has many different faces too, doesn't it? One of the most best laughters is a newborn baby that learns to laugh and get that belly laugh for the first time. It's contagious. You can't not help but smile, because it's not just the laughter, it's the happiness that's attached to the laughter. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It makes you smile every time. If it doesn't, then you might want to look into why. They want you to The one way to heal your throat chakra is to stay in silence and then speak a word and watch the vibration of that word. And they're saying like you could have a room full of many colors, or you could just feel the words. It doesn't matter if you can't see the colors. And when you speak a word, see what it does to the colors. You could also say, you could look at sand and see how it affects sand, how it affects water. Or you can feel how it makes you feel. How does that word make you feel when you speak it? How does it make you feel when you speak in anger or speak in happiness? You heal your throat chakra by simply being aware of what you're saying. Because if you speak positive, loving energy all the time, it heals your throat. It heals the chakra. But when you say negative things, it corrupts the chakra. So disconnecting from all the negative aspects is important, because that helps heal your chakra. It's very easy to balance your chakra. It's very easy to make it go into, to turn it sideways too, to turn it inside out, to be fed the wrong energy. Because every time you're negative, it creates a negative aspect of who you are. It goes down deep inside yourself and it comes out with words, hatred, anger. So it's important that you keep yourself in balance. Meditate. Watch the flame. Visualize a beautiful image inside your mind and hold it there. Calm the waters and keep the water calm. It's hard to visualize an image and keep it in your mind. Not impossible, but it's hard. But it's just the thinking of the positive thing. Thinking of a beautiful event in your life and just allow that to throw through your, describe it, speak it. Because the loving energy, like when you speak, when you tell a story that is full of happiness and joy, it actually heals your throat chakra. When you're standing in front of a crowd and you can't speak, do your best to speak. Because that heals the energy that's stopping you from speaking. It pulls out the spikes inside your throat. By simply having the courage to stand up for what makes you feel uncomfortable. They want you to go to, standing in front of a beautiful waterfall. And the brook that it creates is full of beautiful crystals underneath that causes sparkles in the water. The water itself seems to be sparkling. And they want you to go there with the palm of your hands, not a glass. Put your hands in and take a drink. Drink the sparkling water and let it go down your throat, healing as it goes. They want you to take another drink. And they want you, when you drink out of it 3 times, they want you to lie down in the brook and sink to the bottom. And they don't want you to take a breath. All they do is want you to simply lie there and look up through the glistening water and just watch the light flicker. And there's a spirit that comes from above and reaches down into your throat and pulls out all the black tar, all the negative energy. And it pulls it out and places it in the brook, which then it just becomes part of the water itself. Then he asks you to drink from the water 3 more times. And you drink 3 more times and you lie down into the water. This time you go deeper. And the process continues, and the brook gets deeper and deeper and deeper until the water is almost black. But every time the spirit comes, it lights up the whole area and releases the negative energy from inside your chakra. Until you can't go any further. And there's a creature in here, a dark creature that goes inside your throat. It goes inside yourself. Don't be afraid. It is part of the process of letting go. You don't feel any pain, you feel no suffering. The creature leaves, and you float back up to the surface, and you ask the spirit that helped you all along what that was. He says there's a being in the bottom of this brook that eats away the difficult things that we cannot let go of, or have difficulty of letting go. It eats that parts of ourselves that are no longer necessary, no longer needed. It is not evil. Its job is simply to do that, nothing more. My job is to give you the light back into your throat, so you may speak the words of love and happiness that you want to, that your soul craves, that every soul craves on this earth. I'm here to remind you to always try to be the best you can be. Sometimes, though, we need to go back into the brook and allow ourselves to let go of the things we no longer need. That is okay, and that is expected. And he kisses me in the forehead, and he flies away. And he looks back and says, anytime you want to come back, I can help you release the things you no longer need. And then everything fades away. See, you never know what you're going to get. Never know. Never would have expected that in a million years. Thank you very much, everyone. And if you wish to go to my website, you can go on to AmonRaSAwakening.com, book a session with me, or you can go on my or Joseph Bradley Auroras to view my northern lights. Thank you very much, and again, don't be afraid to leave a comment if you need me to look into anything. And yeah, be part of a group and click on the subscribe button. Thank you very much.